Get out of here. Get out. Get out of here. What's up, guys? It's Kara Corey here, registered dietitian, for another episode of Dietitian Talk. We are coming into the new year 2016, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the eating trends that you guys will see coming into 2016 and that you can utilize to have a healthier diet in 2016. So I'm just going to throw out there some top ones that I've kind of seen in 2015 and I think are going to kind of continue in 2016 and, be a bigger trend, which there's so many food trends out there. It's pretty amazing. You guys should go to Google, type in diet or diet trends. You will get so many results that come up because there's just so many different things out there. But I'm just giving you my perspective as a registered dietitian. So I've got a list, so you might see me look to the left a few times because I don't want to miss anything. Sometimes I do jot down notes for these videos, so you will see me look down on occasion, and it's easier on Shredded Jesus to not have to edit that out. So one of the first eating trends I think we're going to see going into 2016 are an increase in our intake of ancient grains. So I'm wondering how many of you know what ancient grains are? It's one of those things that I know I used to bring up when I work with people and talk about ancient grains. A lot of people have never heard of them. They're just truly grains that have been around for an extremely long time, most of them being gluten-free. One of the most popular ones is quinoa, and that one has been fairly popular, I feel like, for the past year, but it's starting to get even more popular because of its very high protein content within it as a grain. Our grains do still have protein to them. Quinoa, though, has much more protein than your other grains. But quinoa, there's millet, amaranth, farro is very popular. So those are just a few of the ancient grains that I think you're going to see a little bit more of coming into the new year, whether you're going out to eat at restaurants or maybe you'll see them advertised a bit more in grocery stores. Take a look. There's plenty of recipes online. I encourage you all to incorporate those into your diet because I think people get stuck in this mindset that carbohydrates are just bread and pasta, and people forget that there's tons of variety out there, and those are some great ones that yield a lot of good nutrition and gives you some variety in your diet. Like I said, variety is going to be key to keep you on track in the new year, so you're not sick of the same boring old food. So check out your ancient grains the next time you're in the grocery store. Okay, number two trend that has started towards the end of 2015 is veganism and our plant-based diets. Now, I'm not personally saying that eating meat is a bad thing and that we should forego it. However, I think this is a great movement, and I might talk about this in a separate video, but you're seeing an increase in the amount of vegetarian vegan cookbooks and those types of discussions happening. For me as a dietitian, I love to hear, because what it means is people, hopefully, when they turn to a plant-based diet, vegan diet, you're going to be consuming a ton more fruits and vegetables in your diet. And currently, most people lack in the area of vegetables in their diet. So in terms of moving more towards a plant-based diet or a vegan diet, I think you will see in the new year, recommendations for meat. That gets talked about every year, and sometimes people disagree on how much meat we should consume. However, I know for a fact, and I think we can all agree on this, that, again, we need to increase our vegetables. So I think you will see an increase in veganism and the plant-based diets coming into the new year, and it'll be interesting to see if there's any changes to the recommendations for our meat intake. I am a meat eater, but I do try to, sometimes I'm just sick of it, and I come from a history of being vegetarian for a long time, And it's nice to have a change and to maybe have a bowl of quinoa with some nuts in it and some kale and a side of fruit. There's nothing wrong with consuming that. I mean, look at the Hodge twins. It's kind of fun to follow them now on their vegan journey. So we'll see what comes with 2016 for that. Okay, my next eating trend that definitely we saw in 2015, and I think it's going to keep going in 2016, is cauliflower. And I freaking love it. I always have. But you're seeing this now added to all different kinds of stuff and used in all different kinds of ways. So I haven't done it yet, but one common thing is to use cauliflower to cook up into a pizza crust. And I've heard people love it. I've heard it takes a little work, and maybe I'll experiment with that on a future video. But cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable, very water dense, still contains a lot of good nutrition in it, however. Just because something's water dense doesn't mean it lacks good nutrition. So there's still good properties there, but being that it's cruciferous, it's very filling. You can eat it high volume, and it goes quite a ways. You can eat tons of cauliflower and leave yourself being very distended and cramped because it just fills you up so much. So make sure you're drinking enough water when you're consuming that. But cauliflower, we've also seen it used just to add volume to any recipe. So I've started using it for my high volume hash in the morning that I just did a video on. I've seen people add it to their oats first thing in the morning, because if you think about it, cauliflower doesn't have a super strong flavor. My favorite way to utilize it, though, and I do have a recipe on the tube for that, is just blending it up, steaming it, blending it, adding a crap ton of garlic, and you have yourself a seriously yummy little dish that makes a ton of volume and almost tastes like garlic mashed potatoes, but is so much lower in carbohydrates. So that's one great thing to add to your diet for the new year, to add in that volume, and it's totally guilt-free. So my next eating trend I think we're going to see going into the new year is you're going to see, again, I don't like using this term, it kind of lingers out there still though, so I'll use it because that's what people know, is clean eating. That continues to be somewhat of a trend. And I think going into the new year, you're going to see more, and specifically when I talk about the clean eating trend, people are still going to utilize it, but I also think restaurants and some of the fast food places that you're going to, you're going to see more options that tend to cater to this diet trend a bit more. And when I say clean eating, I don't mean clean food versus dirty food. For the most part, there is no standard definition for clean eating, but the general concept with clean eating is just that you're eating foods from a more whole, natural, unprocessed state. So I think you're going to see, and this is a great thing, we need to see more of this because we're going to eat out, right? We're going to be on the go, we're going to eat fast food, we're going to go to restaurants. So the more the restaurants can work with us and help offer us some healthy options, it'll make things so much easier for us. You know, it's hard to go to a place that has no good options and order healthy. So the more restaurants are taking on this concept and offering us more whole natural foods to choose from, makes it so much easier for the average person who's busy and on the go. So keep an eye out for that. You know, I am a firm believer you can make good food choices wherever you go, believe it or not. Whether you're eating at a pizza shop or not, I feel like there's ways to make it work, make it fit your diet without ruining your quote-unquote diet. It can be done. So a lot of it's about the mindset and tricking yourself and making choices and kind of making it all fit. So my next diet trend I want to talk about too are the elimination diets. I haven't really spoke about this much on my YouTube, but this is becoming very popular. I've received a lot of emails and studied this a little bit in a course I took last year at SU. But due to a lot of the up-and-coming research with our guts and issues people are having with intolerances, or at least claiming to have issues with not tolerating dairy or gluten, different allergies, it can be very difficult to sort out and find out what people are really struggling with. So if you feel like you're medically, and I'm not talking about like you're gaining weight or losing weight, I'm talking more from a health perspective. If you truly feel like there's certain foods you eat and you're having health complications, you're having severe abdominal cramping, you're having issues going to the bathroom, you're feeling sick, there's different health complications that can occur, and it can be really difficult for a dietitian or a doctor to sort out. When you're consuming different things throughout the day, it's so hard to tease out and know just what may be impacting you. So one of the common things now, a lot of dietitians and doctors do recommend doing, is an elimination diet, where what you might do, and this will be individualized based on you and your symptoms and what you're consuming, will start to eliminate a few different food groups to almost allow some rest in your gut. So common things that can inflame or irritate your gut could be dairy and gluten. So sometimes we will advise to totally eliminate those things for a set amount of time and monitor your symptoms, and kind of slowly start to incorporate maybe one food back in. So maybe we say, let's eliminate the dairy group and see how you're feeling. And 3 weeks from now, you're feeling incredible. And then we might slowly start to add in milk or yogurt and things like that. So that's kind of a general basis for an elimination diet. But for those having health complications, I do see that being a big trend in 2016, and not a bad one. It is a good approach to use. However, I would like to caution and say you really shouldn't be doing that diet on your own. I do feel like you should be doing an elimination diet with the guidance of a dietitian or your doctor, so that they're aware of what's going on, your symptoms, how you're responding, and you can let the professional kind of assess what's necessary and not necessary, because you really don't want to be eliminating 3 food groups out of your diet if it's not really helping or impacting your health any, or if there's something more serious going on. You want your healthcare provider to be involved. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Next trend I think we'll continue to see is protein content. I didn't mention veganism and plant-based diets. However, with that said, we still see a trend with high protein diets. And there is research to support high protein diets and their helpfulness with body composition and resistance training and just overall improving your energy expenditure. So I think we're going to continue to see that into the new year. And again, I'm always kind of coming a little bit from a bodybuilding perspective in a way, so sometimes I think I stay in that world. But when you look it up on like the current like blogs that do these types of talks, or magazines and things like that, you'll still see high protein as a very common eating trend going into the new year. And again, not an unhealthy one. People take it to the extreme sometimes. So again, if you're working with a coach, work with someone to help figure out what the best protein guidelines are for you. Everyone's a little bit different based on your goals, based on your body. But there's a point of overdoing it with everything as well. So going a little bit higher than, the average recommendation, it's okay, but you also don't want to go too high. And again, if you want me to speak about any of these things in more detail in a future video, please comment below. I know some of you love my long videos, and others of you are like, can you please keep it short, woman? And you guys know I can talk. I just keep on talking. And I'm in a room by myself, so it's kind of weird, but I can just keep talking. But I feel like I'm talking to you, like I feel like we know each other. So anyways, all right, let's go on to my next eating trend for 2016. The other thing I think we're going to see more of, thank God, are the increase in our consumption of lentils. So again, if you're not familiar with lentils, I'm talking about things like beans and peas, garbanzo beans, or maybe you've heard of chickpeas. They're also called pulses, if you've heard of pulses. But lentils are totally underutilized in our diet. They're extremely cheap to purchase. Purchasing them dry is very cheap. It takes a little bit more time to prepare. And even if you consume or purchase the canned versions, those are great too for your diet. So Lentils are a great source of nutrition, tons of protein there, again, coming from a plant-based source, but you're also getting a lot of fiber and other nutrients in beans. I think chickpeas are kind of like the new hit now. People are using a lot of chickpeas to bake with. You'll notice some of my recipes incorporate chickpeas. If you have a food processor or blender, you blend those bad boys up and you can use them almost as a replacement for fat in a lot of baking recipes. And that's an awesome way to increase fiber without increasing the calories super high, the fat super high. It kind of sneaks those beans into your diet if you're not someone who's really into eating beans. Or for those of you that have kids, that's another great way for your kids that I know beans are not kid friendly. So sneak those in there in some of your recipes. It'll be a great way to add the volume, add that fiber, add some good nutrition into your diet for the new year. So be on the lookout for that. And the other trend that I'm noticing is cashew milk. This has kind of been around for a little bit now, but I think almond milk was like all the rage. And we're just seeing more people kind of shy away from dairy in general. I know as a dietitian I am, and when I ask, it's not even because people are intolerant. I think, unfortunately, with nutrition, it's super confusing. And the research, it's always changing. You can't always take everything for face value. So what I learned in college 10 years ago, some of it we're hearing isn't even true anymore. So you never know, and that's why as dietitians we have to constantly be learning, constantly be educating ourselves, and I do the best I can to provide you guys with current up-to-date information. But yeah, so a lot of people choose not to consume dairy, I think because it's just, there's a lot of information out there, so people feel it's healthier to just avoid it altogether, and we see a lot of people choosing the non-dairy alternatives. Cashew milk, I have to say, is in my fridge right now, and I choose it. It's so much creamier than almond milk, and I loved almond milk, but cashew milk just has this delicious creaminess to it. It's not high in sugar, there's not a ton of junk added to it. It's delicious. So if you haven't tried it, or you're someone that avoids milk or is lactose intolerant, check out your dairy alternatives, because there's so much more to offer out there than there ever used to be for those with special dietary needs. Okay, and the last trend I want to mention are healthy fats, which I feel like has been a trend for a little bit, but I want you guys to continue to utilize this eating trend into the new year. For the longest time, fat got a bad rap, as you know. Fat makes fat. Now we're saying fat doesn't make you fat. Higher fat is better. What is the truth? We don't know. But what we do know are definitely try to incorporate those healthy fats into your diet. And one of the bigger trends right now we're seeing are with avocados. So avocados are definitely high in monounsaturated fat, higher in your unsaturated fats. These are great to be utilized. They can actually be heart healthy for you. So adding avocado, again, you can even sneak those into your baking. As I mentioned with the garbanzo beans, you can add avocado to things like brownies and pudding. And there's a lot of fun recipes with avocados online. So check those out if you're trying to figure out how to still have some baked goods in your diet, but still make them heart healthy. Avocado, again, can taste great with a number of different things, chopped up in an omelet for breakfast, or even like mashed in some tuna fish as a way to skip on the mayo but still have some creaminess to your tuna fish. So that's another great one. And things like nuts and seeds as well are a good source of unsaturated fats. And I know I use plenty of those and probably too much peanut butter in my diet. But anyways, so that's another trend you'll see in 2016. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Those are going to be my top picks for some healthy eating trends for you guys to keep on the lookout for in 2016. Utilize yourself if you're not already. So I hope you guys found this information helpful. As always, please comment below. I'd love to hear some of the trends you'd like to see in 2016. Maybe you're doing some of these already. And please continue to comment below with any questions you have for things you'd like me to answer or discuss during a dietitian talk. As always, I really appreciate your support, you guys. Thank you for helping me get to 50K. We did it, baby. It only took us 4 years, but we got there. I doubled that shit in the past year, so that's pretty badass. And that's thanks to you guys. You guys are awesome. The feedback you give me, I take very seriously, and I use it to improve. So hopefully you guys, let me know what you want to see in 2016, and we're going to do some great things together and keep motivating each other. So hit that like button, subscribe if you don't already. We'll see you in the next one.
Good.
Where it's at. I think that I could taste the banana bread part because the cream cheese frosting.
That frosting is amazing.
Just eat the plain donut to get the banana bread flavor. Yeah. So next.
That frosting's so. Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah, that's
for free.
We drove.
Buy at least a dozen.
Yeah.
But it was like
$15 for all this.
$15 for a dozen.
This one's heavy. This one's heavy.
It's a headlight.